Hey y'all, this is Renee. Welcome to the Kingdom Heirs channel. I have on my Miss Cashflow t-shirt on because today's Sunday and Sunday is Cashflow Sunday. You're always invited. It's free to play online at richdad.com. The board game is called Heirs. Just look on the list of open games. Excuse me, you'll see Heirs. Heirs, and then the passcode is 1234. So you're welcome to come out and gain additional financial literacy and strategies on how to invest and put your personal portfolio together. So this is going to be part 2 to my friend doing her flip and fix. The third video will be, I'll bring her back on and she'll talk about more in depth about her journey and her process. I was there as a side friend, so I do know most of the details, but again, she experienced it and went through it, and so she could better tell you. Plus, it shouldn't be on the market that long, so she'll probably come on with good news on the fact that she sold it and how quickly it went. So stay tuned for that video. But I wanted to, and the video 1 is in the resources, and hopefully I'll link it up above. But yeah, she was just minding her own business. She gets a phone call from a friend of a friend saying, hey, my friend is needs to sell her house. She used to be a realtor, which she isn't a realtor, but of course, once you learn how to ride that bike, you know how to ride it again. And so they called and said, I have a friend that's in a bind, an elderly lady, she needs to move on to the next phase of her life. So the lady's home, which if you go to video 1, you'll see how big, and when you have a house, there's responsibilities for upkeep. And I mean, she's owned that house for so many years. And again, my friend Carolyn will fill in the details of how long she actually lived there. But Carolyn went in, they sold it for $40,000. And if you play the cash flow game, we eat up houses that are 30, 35, 40,000. Because when you know the market in the area, and by her being a realtor, it was nothing for her to find out the comps on how much the houses were selling for in that area. So the lady, she needs to get to her next place. You work, you retire, but then there's that next step on where you might need additional care. And so anyway, I can remember getting a phone call from Carolyn and said, hey, this came across my line today. And I was like, girl, go check it out for sure. But if you don't buy it, I'm going to buy it. And so it became her first fix and flip. Now, she does have rental property. The very first house she bought was a 2-family home. So she has experience or past experience on being a landlord and renting out a house. And sometimes, like by default, you'll end up with a house. You need to have some type of knowledge on how to maintain that house, or have some type of, create a vision on what you want to do with it. So anyway, she ended up buying the house cash for $40,000. And so then she went and found financing through a bank. She was able to obtain the money that she needed to rehab the home. And so she went about it. Now, because of COVID, there's still issues out there with getting supplies that you need for your rehab. So where this rehab could have taken like 90 days, it took about a year to get it to the stage of completion. And so as you hear in the first video, she talks about her contractors. That's one thing about contractors. They will either make or break your project. They would either make or break. And especially if you got your initial investment from a hard lender, there's a time frame and that you have to pay back that money. And so you definitely need a project manager, someone that will oversee and make sure that things are getting done in a timely fashion. Now, again, Carolyn, this was her first time doing it. Her husband has done some contracting work, so they were able to come together as a team and get it done. And so, I'm always harping on getting education, get some knowledge on what you're investing in. And so, and you got to count the cost, because you don't want to start a project. There's many of fix and flips out there where people, got zealous, got the house, they're going to do the work themselves, or they're relying on contractors, and get to a certain, like 3/4 of the way done and quit. And so there's other investors that will come in and scoop those properties up because they know how to complete it. And so, again, she did go over a little budget, because, there's always, you have to, when you're doing your budget for your projects, you want to incorporate some surprise, unknown, for unknown things that may happen in a project, because you can go in and, and you start, gutting the walls and pulling up the floors, and you might find things that you didn't know was there. And so you got to be prepared to move in and take care of the unexpected things that you're unaware of. And so, again, she was able to complete the projects. Kudos and congratulations to her, because, that's the one thing that may hold people back from a fix and flip. Like, you have to find contractors that can come in and know what to do. And, you got to get your, go through zoning, and, you have to deal with people that know what is expected, so that way when the inspectors come out, you're not sitting there with mud on your face like, shouldn't that contractor have known? And so, there are some handymen out there that know how to do a very good job, that can pass inspections. I use handymen all the time for my properties, but again, you don't want to shell out money, pay them for a job. The inspector comes out and you don't pass inspection, then you got to pour out more money, and so that puts you over budget. And so, get some referrals, and you got to interview everybody. Make sure that they're bonded where they need to be bonded, and that's the insurance. And so, yeah, it could be a headache, or it could be victory that you completed the job. And after you do a couple of fix and flips, then okay, you have a system down pat. But yeah, she bought it for $40,000, and then she is finished now. She passed all her inspections, and so now it's on the market. And she decided to do it independently, because when you're an investor, you don't have to have a realtor involved. Again, when I took the Rich Dad course, they gave me all the contracts that I could legally use with a deal. So whether it's wholesale, or if it's a fix and flip, or a buy and hold, just having a contract between you and the tenant, or having a contract with, completing your sale with a buyer. So, you get these things when you take I can't say all real estate courses, but I can vouch for the Rich Dad. I can vouch for, I took the Jamal King's course. He provides contracts, or examples of the contracts that you need, or the people that you can contact to get your contracts. Make sure you're using the right contracts. That's why when you create your team of attorney and mortgage broker and accountant and, you know, a bookkeeper and a realtor, you know, you can't go wrong because you're finding people that, you know, have, that are in the business themselves, or they have a high clientele of people that they serve doing what you're doing. And so, you know, you'll end up with the right paperwork. And so, and submitting them in the timely fashion in which you need to submit them. But anyway, she put the house on the market, and I think she could sell it up to like $300,000. So can you imagine the amount of money she put in was, I think she said $130,000 was the rehab cost. She bought it for $40,000, and so she's gonna get back her $40,000. She's gonna pay off her loan that she got to do the rehab and have some money left over. So, you know, you don't have to be like, you hear a lot of people out there, oh, I own, you know, 100 homes or 300, 400. But if you fix and, now, even though I'm a buy and hold, but if I did one fix or flip once or twice a year, I'm already replacing my salary on my job, and say it can fund my next big deal. So these little deals like that, $40,000 home, rehab it and sell it, you already know what the comps are. You know, you're going to do your research, your due diligence, so you already know what your exit plan is. Take that money, especially if you're building a business, you want to buy a franchise, you know, whatever your, you know, financial goals are, it bumps you up to get a bigger and better deal with a higher cash flow, because that's the whole thing, is to get cash flow and passive income, so that way you can, okay, that'll eliminate my job salary, so now I can come off my job, or I can take this money and go on that dream vacation, or I can take this money and put it aside to take care of my, you know, unfortunately, some people get medical problems to where it kills everything that they worked so hard for. So, you know, you could put an emergency fund aside for that, or, you know, or when you can't take care of yourself, that you can go, you know, have a better quality of life, to whereas, like for me, for instance, I have a home down south that, you know, is going to convert to my till the day I die, and hire a staff of people to come in and do residential assistance. That's also on my bucket list of doing. So, you know, you could put things in place like, this is my travel fund, this building's for traveling, or this building is for to retire my spouse, or send my children to college. Whatever your goals are, you can definitely accomplish. So good jobs. Kudos to you, Carolyn. Stay tuned for part 3. Carolyn will come back and close the deal. Bye for now.